I guess for me, in a perfect world, it would be something like, regardless of who acquires Warner, where like, you know, independent filmmakers can make money via just like paid ads.
I see a world where filmmakers can actually maybe make a living off their movies now. Welcome everyone to the Kinolime Podcast. Sorry, Danny just was huffing like a dog, or I don't know. Was that
Yeah,
you're like? Were you centering your breath?
Yeah, it's better than. Was the Band-Aid last week?
I don't remember, dude. He's such a but his hair's tied back today.
Yeah, hair's tied.
Oh no, last week you had the chin strap.
Oh yeah, I had a chin strap.
Yeah.
I also had Band-Aids.
And you had Band-Aids.
Yeah, I had a rash on my neck. It was terrible.
Anyway,
yeah.
We got a lot to unpack today. I don't know if you've been head in the sands or just, I don't know, tuning out to the world. There's a hostile takeover happening in Hollywood with Ellison and Paramount and Warner Brothers and Netflix all dueling it out. I'm hoping for like a third person to come in and just really make this crazy. Like, who can we like get in there? Could like the Saudis, or like who can we throw?
Already are. The Saudis are like the key investor for Paramount. It's the Saudis, private equity, and Larry Ellison. It is the worst blunt rotation you could ever have.
But what we have going on is Warner Brothers is for sale, and just everybody wants to buy, you know, an established brand of, you know, excellence in cinema and filmmaking. But I'm the type that just ignores this noise. But I have Danny here, who's our expert in all things politics. And
oh God, am I? That is grim.
You're who I go to for some knowledge. But we're gonna unpack everything that's going on. So hold tight, get your pencils sharpened. We're going to take some notes. But anyway, D, give us the quick update on what is going on. Yeah. Last thing I heard last night was Ellison was like, we're going to make 30 theatrical films a year to sweeten the deal. It's over, I don't know, 100 and something billion now, but give us the update.
Yeah, we're at the phase of like the, you know, massive media consolidation. Like, again, everyone now is just trying to pepper the FTC. Netflix is we're still going to run it like it's a theatrical business, and Paramount is saying they're going to release a lot of movies. The scary thing about Paramount specifically is like they're already talking about $6 billion in synergy, which essentially just means layoffs. It's going to be grim and terrible. These media mergers are never good.
That's a crazy word, though, because it sounds so positive. Synergy, like we're working together, but meanwhile, synergy means like we'll work together on the unemployment line, cashing our meager checks.
Yeah, it's like, you know, performance improvement plan, or like, you know, calling your workplace. Like,
do you think they have like a table where they just sit around, like kind of figuring out like what are some good words we can do to make it sound less painful? It's like a colonoscopy sounds bad, but like what if they change it to something different? You know? Yeah,
I mean, they do. They outsource that. It's, you know, there's like one or two places they go. It's usually McKinsey. And yeah, they have these consulting firms like, you know, like tell them what color tie to wear when they
fire,
you know,
somebody.
or like stop giving like dental as part of the healthcare benefits.
Sorry, I didn't mean to throw you off. So
oh no, it's okay.
So the synergy's happening.
Yeah.
This doesn't look very good.
No.
A lot of people are in an uproar. I know the WGA did a joint release regarding this.
Mm-hmm.
People are just trying to stop this as much as possible. Why? Tell us why this is no bueno.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, every major media merger just means less output, less investment in film, less creative ingenuity, less jobs. The kind of perilous stakes right now of this is like, it's kind of two-pronged, which is, like, if Netflix wins this bidding war, well, they have won at least the first phase. Now Paramount's going through a hostile takeover because they need Warner for their entire business plan to work. But if Netflix wins, they're already talking about shortening windows and making things more palatable for consumers, which means direct to consumer, which means direct to streaming. They're already talking about 3-week windows. What's really scary about that is
3 weeks. I'm sorry. That's crazy, because you have films historically that have become not just cult favorites, but like box office success that are like a slow moving boulder that just keeps going and going, gathers moss as it goes. To shorten it to 3 weeks, like you're just banking on a quick punch, blitzkrieg, so to speak. And if the audience doesn't have a chance to even like hop on that train, like you're going straight to streaming.
Yeah, I mean, like what Netflix, I mean, I think the argument that they will say to the FTC and say directly to moviegoers is that, look, like films make most of their box office in the first couple weeks anyway. And, after that, it's going to be more profitable and it's a better incentive to like get engagement for the film to have it go to the biggest streamer in the world outside of YouTube. If like they are counting YouTube as a part of aggregation, so that it looks like it's not as big of a anti-competitive acquisition. But what they're actually doing is they understand that the theatrical business, and again, we had a year with great movies, and what they understand is that if they acquire Warner, and like Warner right now is like 25% of like theatrical output. After 2029, like they don't have any theatrical commitments.
Yeah.
If they could lower windows, if they could, have way less Warner films go theatrical, they could make the theatrical business essentially hit a tipping point where we have massive amounts of, big theaters close to the point where the theatrical business is no longer an actual business model that's salvageable for production companies and studios. And then what happens if everything is going straight to streaming and you own Netflix, you own HBO, and you own all the IP that stems from that? Forget winning the streaming wars. You essentially would have a monopoly on distribution, at least under the current framework we have right now for movies.
Yeah, that's kind of scary. Like I tend to be more half glass full guy on things, but this is kind of nerve wracking. If you're a filmmaker, you got to be like shaking in your boots, so to speak, as my grandfather would say, because the theatrical business really is, it feels like it's in peril now, or it's at a fork in the road, right? Like something's, we can't stop this. One of Warner Brothers will sell to someone, and it will drastically change the landscape of how movies are made and released. So we can't stop that. We just have to deal with it. So I guess sort of some things, if you're interested more in the nitty gritty, I did a little research with our insider on Wall Street, since Wall Street's literally right here. A couple things to know about what's going on as well is, it seems like Netflix is just trying to drive up the price for Paramount in a way. It's kind of like we are big baseball fans. We're in the midst of the MLB free agent. We're at the winter meetings right now. You drive other teams' price above a player, so they overpay and they can hamper their marketing or their budget, so to speak. It seems like that's potentially what I'm hearing, is that Netflix is trying to drive up the price of Paramount. Also, the value of what they're paying for Warner Brothers is way above what Warner Brothers is currently worth. And why is that? A couple things I heard, which I thought was really interesting, is that the studio space of Warner Brothers is a premium value due to location, the lots. There aren't many available spaces like that around. So to envelop Warner Brothers, you're getting that space, which is a premium, which is a lack of supply. So that's also an interesting reason as to maybe why Warner Brothers is being bid on so heavily. And a third, which another interesting point, is HBO, don't quote me on this, but from a source, it has the largest library of unused IP. So it's a little different than used IP, right? Yeah. So HBO is paying holding fees to keep IP frozen, so to speak, or at bay. Netflix or whoever will have access to that library and then can unfreeze it and now use it and create remake upon remake, and we're in the cycle. So creatively too, it's like really, it is scary.
Yeah.
But with every issue, right, that presents itself, I think there's opportunity. So we know the doom and gloom scenario. We know what's happening. Let's figure out, like, how could this be well, not even beneficial. What now? What happens now? Let's talk two scenarios. Let's say Netflix wins the bid. What happens? Quick.
If Netflix wins the bid, what would inevitably happen? One, I think like the positives, at least in the short term, of Netflix winning the bid is that one, a lot less industry layoffs. Reason being is like Netflix does not have the type of operation that is needed to support massive theatrical releases. Paramount does. That's why like there's so much like layoffs and like turnover in the event Paramount wins. Netflix actually would need to build on the kind of operations, at least for like I think we know their long play game, but like in order to operate Warner, they would actually need to build. So that's positive. The other positive too is Netflix does actually have significantly more creative freedom that I think they would permit. Like what Paramount's already said is like the direction that they're interested in going. And again, David Ellison, like every single Vanity Fair, Hollywood Reporter, Deadline interview we've seen is he's this new media trailblazer and he's going to change everything. And then he said his entire, game plan for like his film slate is existing IP in tentpole.
Yeah.
And he's not interested in auteur-driven films. He's not interested in mid-budget films. And the only new IP he's interested in acquiring is Call of Duty. It's going to be a brochacho fest over there.
So
I'd rather
Netflix.
see
So
what
Netflix.
Netflix can do creatively.
Creatively, okay. So we have that. So now, positive sides. If I know you're a huge fan of Ellison, let's say Paramount wins the bid. What are some positives that are going to come out of that?
They're saying that, they would
30 theatrical releases.
30 theatrical. Again, is that true? Almost certainly not. That's
a big deal if it is.
If
that is a big deal.
Yeah, but like
what type of film? Right?
Yeah.
That's the issue.
The positives of Paramount winning is that, again, is it better probably in the short term for the theatrical business? Yes. That is, to me, maybe the only positive I could see of that.
So, is there a dark horse bid coming in, or could we just safely say it's these two?
It's funny, right? I mean, it's probably just these two. I don't really see a way. Like, again, if the Ellisons want this, like, I think, and again, it's not just David Ellison. Like, Larry Ellison is footing this bill along with Saudi Arabia and a massive, like, Redbird, right? Like, one of the biggest private equity firms in the world. It's really a bad, not the type of group you want to usher in the biggest creative IP vault in, American history. But again, like they don't, like they can spend as much money as they want. And like the game plan for them has always been, they have all the kind of GPU space through Oracle needed to acquire a Paramount and like sustain a Paramount, a Warner.
Sure.
And then their next play is going to be TikTok. And then the scary thing is them potentially trying to mold those into one massive media conglomerate with a very specific ideological tilt. That is part of it, is like the idea that like it'll be easier currently for the FTC to regulate that or to pass that through.
I'll tell you something positive out of this. Whether either wins, one will win. I think it's inevitable, like I mentioned, but something that I think will be a positive or an interesting opportunity, maybe even better than saying positive. It'll force, because now think of it this way. Let's role play. They win, they merge. Now it's harder to get theatrical films released in theaters. Or they have their own incubator of films and stories that they want to tell, and it's hard to penetrate that. So you're a filmmaker. What do you do now? I think this just begs for self-distribution. Like, I've been saying this for years. I really do feel like this is a potential wave. I think the distribution, the domestic distribution in the U.S. is going to change rapidly. I think it's a gold mine. I think if someone can crack that code, can figure it out, it's because there are stories, we meet them all the time when we go out. Like, we have a filmmaker, I'm not going to even mention her by name, but we have a German filmmaker here watching us right now. I will not mention your name. But regardless, people want to make movies and are going to make movies whether they work for Paramount or Netflix or whoever. So what do you do with your films? Like self-distribution. Like I think good movies always rise to the top, right? If the word of mouth spreads, if you hear about a buzzy film, because it's so hard to make a good movie. Like, I mean, we play this game all the time. Like, name the 10 best movies of 2022 compared to 1995. Like, it's just, there's no brainer there. So the quality of the films, I think, in relation to the amount of films made, is lower. So if a good film buzzes, like if you have a One Battle After Another, right? You'll get this smile. If you have a One Battle After Another dude that's made independently and he has no place to go, boom. Self-distribution, you create a buzz, you create a thing.
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess in a perfect world, look, if Apple doesn't come in or like Mark Walter comes in with like Guggenheim and just like buys.
Is Apple even a like?
They're not coming.
Oh, they're not coming. Okay.
But like, boy, oh
I don't know
boy,
why not.
Because their whole thing is like, I mean, I think outside of like Beats and they're like what Shazam maybe, like they don't acquire companies. Like their whole thing is like we build them.
Yeah.
Okay. But please buy this one. But okay. That is like the only good hopeful scenario. But I guess for me, in a perfect world, it would be something like, regardless of who acquires Warner, again, like, is it something like a to be kind of setup where like, independent filmmakers can make money via just like paid ads?
That's what it is too, man.
Free entrance.
I see a world where filmmakers can actually maybe make a living off their movies now, right? Where if they go the self-distribution or some other platform that's not going to gouge them. Like, again, I just feel like we see it throughout history. You have the corporate greed, and then you just have this independent revolutionary spirit. Like, look at the 90s independent filmmaking, genre, like why it rose, why 70s cinema rose that way. It's because there was like a pushback, and I feel it brewing. I really, really do. You just feel like you can't stop people from making art and making movies. Like, they're gonna make it, and they're gonna have said film here, and they gotta send it to people to watch, and it's gonna just create a whole new, I think, dynamic to the market.
Look, my hope with whatever kind of media consolidation and merger happens is, I mean, and for a lot of reasons in the last year, I've become an accelerationist in a lot of the ways I think about these things. And look, what's happening now kind of does remind me a lot of, like, again, you learn about it in film school and you study media. It's kind of like the 40s again, right? It's like the Paramount Decree.
Yeah.
Where a handful of companies not only owned the studios and had these like really restrictive deals with filmmakers, but also owned the film printing companies, and they owned the theaters, and they were able to decide what was made, what was watched, and it became such a massive albatross on the entire apparatus of filmmaking, and that wasn't the appetite film lovers wanted. It's not what filmmakers wanted.
Nope.
That they inevitably, and obviously it can't happen under this administration, but like maybe sometime in the near future, again, we'll get to a point where we will need such massive antitrust breakups of these companies.
Amen.
That would be again, like if filmmakers can find a self-distribution avenue that in some way can sustain, the appetite people have for filmmakers and to watch movies, and then, the bubble bursts and there's maybe a market for these again.
Because there is an appetite.
Really
there is an appetite.
Yeah.
We've seen it this year at the cinema. We've seen it. People do show up. They still want to see movies. They want to see great movies, right? Like there is an appetite. I think that'll never go away. And even like hearing like the Stranger Things, right? Like, look, a lot of people are met on it, right? I think the viewership on it wasn't as great as Netflix wanted. And I do think, again, it's not because it had everything going for it. I just think, again, first 4 episodes kind of sucked. I'm gonna be honest. Like, it kind of did. They're kind of boring. So if you don't make good content or good movies or tell good stories, people are not going to show up. I don't care where, if it's streaming or theaters. So I think at the end of the day, we can mask this as much as we want. Conglomerates, monopolies. Like, you still got to make a good movie. Still got to write a good screenplay. And that's why we're here at Kinolime, because we do have, in the new year, our script-to-screen competition 3.0 coming up. So get your screenplays ready, because we are going to change the business. 2026 is going to be a big year. Not only for Kinolime, we got our first 2 winners going into production this year, upcoming year, which is going to be fantastic. Plus our other films that we're co-producing, etc. We have all the great movies that you're going to be making out there on the, like, this is a big year for cinema. Like, I feel like 2025 was, like, personally, from a business side, it was just really a sludge to get through. But now I feel like 2026 is where things are going to change. So you have the power to change cinema by making your screenplay, getting it into Kinolime, and we're going to make this is our 3rd competition. We're going to make your movie if it gets voted on.
We're going to make your movie, and we're going to sell it to, the single distributor left by the time
We're going to go out at Ellison's
Finish.
house and just wave your copy of your film. But
It's going to be great.
Danny, as always, this was such a great chat. You're always enlightening to
Thank you.
bring shed some light on this really it's kind of a boring topic for me. I don't really like the numbers of it all, but
You don't like media consolidation?
no, it's not. I wish there was a dark horse. Like that's what I'm saying. Like I'm thinking dramatic and create. I got like throw someone in the mix there.
You know who is the dark horse that would be really, really, really funny? I would absolutely love. Hear me out here. Again, I think I touched on it a second ago, but why doesn't the only private equity firm that like I can even have a twinge as a Dodger fan of a smile for?
God, no.
Just have Guggenheim.
Guggenheim, you're such
Have Guggenheim buy it. If
Yeah.
Guggenheim again, and then I get to watch Dodgers and Lakers for free on.
We're gonna
HBO.
end on that, but everyone, thank you for tuning in to Kinolime.
Yeah.
If you have a great dark horse suggestion that we're missing, like send it in to us. We'd love to hear your take on what's going on here in the land of Hollywood. But thank you again, Danny. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, John.
All right. We'll see you soon, everybody. Well, if you like that video and you want more of what we're making here at Kinolime, hit that like button, that subscribe, make that comment, whatever it is, and across our social channels. We love to talk about industry news, screenwriting, all things film here at Kinolime. So join us on all across our platforms, kinolime.com, to get up-to-date news and all the cool videos.